Remember when Castiel walked into a barn and took a knife straight to the chest nonchalantly? And when John Winchester came back for the 300th episode, the show just sat 4 people down at a dinner table. Yeah, these are the best moments in Supernatural. The Mystery Spot episode, Dean dies, Tuesday resets. Dean dies again, more stupidly. The show knows exactly how ridiculous it's being, and it's having the time of its life with it. You're laughing, it's great, everyone's having a wonderful time. And then it keeps going. The joke doesn't announce that it's changing. It just quietly starts curdling from the inside until you look up and realize you've been watching Sam Winchester lose his entire mind. And somewhere along the way, stopped laughing about it. The weeks blur. Sam stops flinching when Dean dies. He gets frighteningly good at surviving Tuesday. The thing about Mystery Spot that destroys people on first watch is that it never gives you a warning sign, which is exactly what makes it work. It opened with cartoon energy, walked you past the trapdoor, and dropped you somewhere genuinely devastating without once letting you brace for it. One of the coldest moves this show ever pulled. Castiel shows up. Dean digs out of his own grave. The barn explodes. Every protective sigil Bobby spent, who knows how long carving into those walls, does absolutely nothing. And then, this guy in a trench coat walks in, takes a knife straight to the chest, pulls it out, and looks mildly inconvenienced at best. That's the entrance. No monologue, no dramatic lighting, just immediate proof that whatever this is, it's not afraid of you even a little. The show had been running on crossroads deals and urban legends and demonic yellow eyes up to this point, doing it well. And then one angel walks into one barn and blows the ceiling off the entire mythology in under a minute. What makes it land so hard is that the scene refuses to oversell him. It just lets Dean's face do the work. And Dean Winchester's face, which is never caught without an answer, has no answer. That's the whole sell. Castiel didn't arrive as a new character. He arrived as proof the show had been playing small this whole time. Death walks into Chicago. Introducing Death as an actual character is the kind of move that can go wrong immediately. Too theatrical, and he's a Halloween costume. Too low-key, and nobody buys it. Supernatural somehow threads this perfectly and makes it look easy, which it absolutely is not. He walks down a Chicago street, and a man drops dead just for making contact with him. Not a spell, not a fight, just proximity, just being too close to something ancient and completely indifferent. And in that one moment, the show communicates something it had been struggling to nail all season, which is that the stakes are real, and the thing at the center of them is genuinely deeply old. Death doesn't care about Lucifer. He doesn't care about the apocalypse. He finds the entire angel-demon situation about as interesting as a mild delay on his commute. He's not hostile. He's not even particularly present. He's just completely unbothered. And that turns out to be scarier than anything else this show ever tried. Supernatural never made a better entrance than this one. The Unhinged Demon. The trickster throws Sam and Dean into actual TV shows, and they have to play along or die. So Dean ends up in a Japanese game show getting absolutely destroyed. Then they're both in a Grey's Anatomy knockoff, and Dean has to deliver a speech about his feelings while someone flatlines behind him. Then there's a fake STI commercial where Dean stares directly into the camera and announces he has genital herpes with the energy of a man who has fully made peace with whatever his life has become. And every single bit of it works, because Sam and Dean are funniest when they're utterly, spiritually done with whatever the universe is currently asking of them. And this episode asks that across 7 different genres in 45 minutes. Then it reveals the trickster is actually Gabriel, and reframes the entire thing as something that genuinely matters to the season. Funny, smart, and narratively useful all at once, which is a combination this show didn't always manage. The French mistake goes full meta. A lesser show attempts this episode, and it becomes completely unwatchable. Sam and Dean land in a universe where they're Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles, actors on a TV show called Supernatural. Dean discovers he drives a Prius. Sam discovers he's married to the actress who played Ruby. They try to act in their own show and are so painfully, catastrophically bad at it that it becomes its own joke running underneath every scene. Misha is tweeting about his confusion in real time. The whole production looks like it's running on collective denial, and everyone's just pretending otherwise. The reason it works, and it does work completely, is that the episode is laughing at itself without being embarrassed by itself, which sounds simple and is actually a very hard balance to maintain for 45 minutes. Supernatural knew its fandom, knew its own energy, and turned all of that into something that still holds up entirely. Absolute confidence. Baby finally admits, the car's been the third main character this whole time. The Impala is not a prop, and the show knew that from the beginning, mostly gesturing at it for 10 seasons before finally doing something about it. An entire episode inside the car works because the Impala turns out to be the one place where Sam and Dean are completely, totally themselves. No case briefings, no bunker, no other characters running interference. Just 2 brothers in close quarters, eating terrible food and talking about the stuff you only talk about at 2 in the morning when nobody's keeping score. The moment Dean starts belting night moves and Sam just joins in, and they're both laughing in the front seat like 2 people who are genuinely happy for once. That's the scene the show spent 11 seasons earning. 30 seconds of 2 brothers happy in a car, and it hits every single time, which tells you everything about what the show was really about when it was being honest with itself. Fanfiction lets the fandom love the show out loud and actually means it. An all-girls school staging a full musical based on Sam and Dean's lives is a premise that should be a catastrophe by every reasonable measure. It is the complete opposite of a catastrophe, which is one of the more impressive things this show ever pulled off. Fanfiction works because it's not laughing at its own fans, which would have been the easy version of this episode and the wrong one. It's doing something harder and more sincere, which is saying that these brothers have become bigger than the show, that people retell their story because it actually means something to them. And that's not embarrassing. That's the entire point. When the cast sings "Carry On My Wayward Son" and the episode stops winking entirely and just lets it land, you feel it. For a show that spent 15 years putting these 2 through the absolute ringer, this is the hour that looks at them and says your story matters enough for strangers to sing it back to you. That's not a small thing. Goodbye. Stranger is the Cass and Dean scene. The show spent years building toward Castiel's been brainwashed. He's beaten Dean half to death, repeatedly, and he's about to finish the job. And Dean is just talking to him. Not swinging back, not running, just standing there, with blood on his face and his hands open, trying to reach someone who might genuinely be unreachable right now. The scene is brutal, not because of the hits, but because of what they mean, which is that Cass is still somewhere in there, and Dean absolutely refuses to stop trying. When Cass finally breaks through, the relief is physical. You feel it leave your chest. Supernatural was always better at implying emotional weight than spelling it out. And this is the purest example of that in the entire run. Every single thing these two have put each other through is in that room without a word of it needing to be said out loud. The relationship does all the heavy lifting. The scene just shows up and collects. Lebanon gives the Winchesters, something the show never lets them have, and you feel every second of it. John Winchester comes back for the 300th episode, and instead of turning that into a twist or an action set piece, the show turns it into a dinner. Just a dinner, John and Mary and Sam and Dean around a table in the bunker, being a family for the first time in any of their lives. And it wrecks you, not because it's played for maximum emotion, but because the episode understands exactly what it cost to get here, and what it cost to know it can't last. John's not fixed. Their history's not suddenly clean. Sam's still carrying things he's never said to his father, and the episode doesn't pretend otherwise for a second. But for one evening, the four of them sit together, and you feel the full weight of everything that was taken from these people before the story even started. Supernatural almost never gives Sam and Dean a break. Lebanon gives them one briefly and makes absolutely sure you feel it running out the whole time. That's the cruelest and most loving thing the show ever did. Sacrifice is two brothers, in a church, and the entire show. In one scene, Sam's dying. He's finishing the trials, and his body's burning out, and he's ready to let it happen. Because some part of him has always believed on some level that this is just what he deserves. And then Dean figures that out. And the scene becomes the emotional thesis statement of 15 seasons in about 4 minutes flat. Dean's not winning this with a weapon or a loophole or some lore trick. He wins by being honest, by telling Sam straight up that there is no version of saving the world that's worth it if Sam's not in it. The plan fails. The gates stay open. Nothing they actually came there to do gets done. And it's still one of the most satisfying moments in the entire run. Because Supernatural chose the brothers over the victory, which is what it always does, which is exactly why you love it. The show could have ended here. It really should have. It didn't. But this is the scene that most precisely explains what the whole thing was actually about. Swansong had one job and did it better than any episode in the show's history. Everything in Supernatural is pointing at this. Not at Lucifer, not at the apocalypse, at a toy soldier jammed in the Impala's ashtray, and a Lego brick wedged in the back seat. The small physical proof of two brothers growing up inside that car. Sam's losing, Lucifer's fully in control, Dean's getting destroyed, and there's genuinely nothing left to try. And then Sam looks at the Impala, really looks at it, and starts coming back, because that car is their whole life, and their whole life is each other. And that turns out to hit harder than the devil himself. No speech, no spell, just memory, just the brothers. Which is what the show always comes back to when it's being completely honest. Swansong earns every second of that because it spent 5 seasons showing you two people choosing each other over everything, over safety, over logic, over a universe repeatedly telling them to stop. The apocalypse is just the backdrop. The brother story is the entire point. It was always the point. This is Supernatural, proving it knew that from day one. So what's your number one? The moment that instantly reminds you why you gave these two idiots 15 seasons of your life. Drop it in the comments and subscribe, because we are very much not done with Sam and Dean yet.